Aloha and welcome to Java. Thank you so much for joining me. This is for Tuesday, March 5th, 2024. First, I would like to give a shout out for everybody that's been supporting me so much. I really thank you kindly for that. It's great motivation for me. So, going into our markets, we've got our favorite risk indicator back at 270. Still in high territory, however, it's just kind of ranging around here. So, the longer it does this, the more stable things relatively are, at least for the moment. So, watching the relative dollar strength in the 10-year yield as always. Right now, stocks are under a bit of pressure prior to open. They're looking forward to a few more things that are coming out this week. So, a lot more cautious outlook. And we've got the futures also reflecting a bit of caution. So, still greed weighted. So, still a lot of buying coming into this market, still a lot of retail despite the increasing risk that is happening. So if you're a trader, just keep your eye either on the MMRI for uh, pivot points and a signal that there might be a switch in play. So today we will be watching the PMI coming out as well as ISM numbers for manufacturing. So that's the largest things happening today. We've also got a couple of Fed Vice Chair Michael Barr coming out to speak. So we'll be keeping an eye on those. Moving into banking and the economy, we've got JP Morgan moving into payment system, basically attempting to compete with Visa and MasterCard in France. So we'll see if it is successful there. They will look at branching out with that. So moving to smaller banks, more troubles with NYCB. Basically, their stock dropped further yesterday. They've got more weakness that they're kind of uncovering underneath all of these loans and assets that they had taken on. We've got another small bank, First Bank. This one is based out of Colorado, I believe. They have a shakeup in their executive team and KeyCorp's new chief accounting officer. So they're having some trouble showing some structural issue there as well. So we're getting more reports every day, more banks that are having weaknesses. And I have been looking into some individual ones, but if you're looking at a basic ETF that covers the bulk of them, it would be KRE is the ticker. So moving over to UK sales growth, although this is reflective, I think, against the broader board, their sales growth slowed in February, and they're blaming it on the weather, saying dampened by the weather. So, slowing growth over there because of the weather. However, it is kind of slowing across the board. I think it's because they don't have as much buy now, pay later options available to them. Because we've also got their supermarket sales slowing in February as well. So I'm not sure what they're going to attribute that to. People are eating less in the United States, are being encouraged to eat cereal for dinner because it's less expensive. So over to Germany, they know their weak point is utilities and having inexpensive energy in order to produce. So they are looking at kind of bolstering this weak point for them. They've got a bid for a new power station capacity. So the interesting part of this is that they are looking at tendering 10 gigawatts using gas fired power, but it must be ready to switch to clean hydrogen in the future. So moving away from quote unquote polluting fossil fuels, they are still putting this under the guise of green energy, but they really need to get this started because they need the energy. So in other news, we've got American Airlines, as well as a couple of others. United is about to place an order as well. A large number of this was with Boeing, is also with Airbus, and this is going to give a bit of a boost to Boeing. So largest plane order in more than a decade. Their stock dropped in a bit because they're taking on more loans with this, more leveraging. But on the underneath of it, the company has paid off a tremendous amount of its debt and does have a decent cash holding. So over to India, Tata Motors, they hit a record high on a plan to split into two listed firms. So just getting into the EV space, electric vehicle, and there's quite a few changes going on. So, with that, talk about Tesla for a moment. Their shares dropped. China's sales fell to the lowest level in over a year, and on that news, it did hit their stock. We also had early this morning, this just came in. Tesla's German plant halts production. There was one of their electrical pillars was burning, so they're suspecting arson with that and looking into it. So I want to expand out just a little bit. Deutsche Börse launches regulated spot platform for cryptocurrency assets. So kind of major movement going into Bitcoin. And then I've got this story next to it for a reason, Anthropic. So Anthropic is artificial intelligence company. They're releasing their more powerful Claude 3 AIs, their new version, as the tech race continues. So why I want to bring this up is because large underlier for all of these is the amount of energy consumed. So there were large cries about how much energy cryptocurrency was utilizing. However, we've got artificial intelligence, which is utilizing much more, but it doesn't seem to be a concern for the environment for whatever reason. So, with these two, we've also got them fueling chips. So, the chip sector, we've got some major movement here in the future. Vietnam bidding to use the US China chip war so that they can get into the space in the manufacturing. I think this is brilliant for them to kind of take advantage of this opportunity to fill in the gap that it needs. We've also got China are looking more at self-reliance after all of the sanctions and the issues that the United States and the West in general caused to them. They have vowed to open manufacturing for themselves and to foreign investors and are working currently on their own versions of chips. So moving over to trade in general, we've got a couple of stories here. So it wasn't that long ago that trade was open in the canals through the Suez in the Middle East. And the Houthis started bombing this. Well, now it's advanced because the telecom minister now is saying that ships entering Yemeni waters must obtain a permit from the Houthi controlled Maritime Affairs Authority. So now, in essence, they have full control of this major trade route. And nobody's really paying attention to that. They are in the essence that this is going on with the war, but the real underlying is this trade war that is continuing. So they've just taken a major win in this. And who are they working with? Well, behind this all, we've got Iran is exporting goods to China, and they've got over 11.5 billion that they've been doing trade with. So on the back of this, Russia and Iran are doing very well under these sanctions. So they're also inking deals with Algeria under energy. So they've got energy cooperation going on, another oil-rich area. And we've got the Iranian president congratulating the new Pakistani prime minister and affirming bilateral commitment with him. That is a step into farther east and also with India. So these new trade groups, trade alliances, I think are very important to watch. For the most part, not spoken about in the West. But as we watch not just the BRICS rise, but also a change in the underlying of trade and currency, because the currency is backed by the trade and the military, that this is what we should be watching. So this is a relatively famous picture from Weimar, Germany, back during the hyperinflationary phase. The children are stacking, these are wrapped bricks of the currency at the time. We want to talk about Bitcoin fixes this. The reason I say this is not just because I am a fan of cryptocurrency to a point, but if you had to move large amounts of money, even gold and silver have their weight and their issues and they can be confiscated. So having some cryptocurrency is a good backup plan to have it along with to diversify. That's my personal opinion. So we got some lava updates, a couple of things I'd like to mention. One I'm not going to talk about because it's too incredibly controversial. So we'll just leave that up there for you. But one, we were talking about something else similar to this. Now scientists are growing cells from fluid drawn from pregnancy, so growing mini lungs and other organs. So this is the amniotic fluid that surrounds a baby in the mother's womb. They're during doctors' tests, is what they're saying, and they're taking out these portions of this fluid and growing mini organs in dishes. So I know these have quite a few implications that could be very good with this, but I just thought that was interesting and wanted to bring this up to you. So with that, I think it's important, again, build community. If you haven't liked and you do indeed like this video, please hit that like and subscribe. Thank you kindly for being here, and until I see you again, my friends, stay free.